and were relatively small. The typical Moscow casino was probably 10, 12, 15 games. Towards the end there was the Korsten Hotel, which was trying to be a mid-sized to large-sized casino. But even at that, which opened only 2 years before closure, I think there were 40, 50 games. They wanted to put 100 games down, but they never got the chance. The property was closed. So Russia was small to medium games, but we had the oligarchs, the minigarchs, and the minigarchs playing huge amounts of dollars, and then it opened up to larger and larger portions of the mass market, but essentially it was aimed at the upper income classes, where slots were everywhere that you wanted to play a slot, you could turn the corner and find one to play. The rest of Russia somewhat mimics that, although because of the wealth disparity, you don't see quite the wealth in some of the areas of other Russia. So the other areas, I downsized that and said that the mass market table games outside of Moscow was probably equal to, a little bit higher than the VIP. And again, yet in slots is very much of a mass market operation. What does that look to in terms of number of casinos? Well, there may have been up 50 or 60 casinos, depending upon who you listen to. At one point in time, there may have been 50 or 60. I've heard as low as 40. Actually, I've heard as low as 25, but I think when they finally got to the end there, 45, 50, 60 casinos in Moscow, probably 40, 50 throughout the rest of Russia, and somewhere on the order of magnitude of 50,000 slot machines across the country, although I've heard as many as 70,000. I've never heard much less than 45, 50,000. So a lot of slot machines, a lot of table games, concentrated over a small number of table game casinos, spread over everywhere, a little bit of an exaggeration, but spread over quite a number of places in small slot parlors, and that's what Russia looked like when it closed down in July of 2009. And when I mean closed down, it closed down. There was advance notice, I think about 18 months, and President Putin said, I'm going to close it down in July, and he fulfilled his promise. Some press reports will say that 350 to 500,000 people were put out of work. On the other hand, you should know that the central gaming legislation never changed. They never withdrew the central legislation. In fact, President Putin added amendments to the legislation which allowed 4 gaming zones to be built. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 gaming zones where gaming would be sequestered, if you will. If you want to look at it as being pushed to a place where it could be controlled. But it was put into 4 different zones. Now, this is a dot density map, a population density map, which if you're a feasibility study person and a consumer products person, which we are, you want to be near population. One would think that you would put the zones where the population is. In other words, look for the greatest density of dots. That's where you put the slot machines. In fact, that's not entirely what happened, but it's not entirely what didn't happen. So let's look at what happened. In a sense, there were 4, not in a sense, there were 4 gaming zones established. Going right to left, I'm sorry, I thought it would be reversed, I don't know why I thought that. Right to left, you have Primorsky Krai on the east coast, the Pacific Ocean, which Primorsky Krai is a Russian word for region. So you can call it the Primorsky region, which includes the city of Vladivostok. And I'll get into each of these in turn. The Altai Krai is at the southern border, at the kind of the nexus of China, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan. Krasnodar Krai is on the Baltic Sea. We know where that is now because it's about an hour's drive north of Sochi, still on the Black Sea in that area. And the final one is Kaliningrad, which is actually north of Poland. By matter of geopolitics and history, there's a sliver of land that is literally just north of Poland that is kind of an island, if you will, of Russia that happens to be located in that neck of the woods. And it's surrounded by Latvia, Estonia, Poland, and those northern countries that you're familiar with. Let's look at each of these in terms of how they've developed. I start with Krasnodar Krai because that's where the first casino opened. Even though the casinos were closed in 2009, The first casino opened, I believe, in 2010 in a place called Azov City. Azov City is in the middle of nowhere, in a sense. It is approached by a series of roads from the feeder markets. Some of those roads are dirt roads, and literally is in the middle of nowhere. There was an intention to make it a full-blown resort with all the infrastructure and everything else fueled by casino gaming. In other words, there's a little bit of a force fit. If we put casino gaming in the middle of nowhere, there will be enough demand, either in terms of development interest and or consumer interest, that that'll justify building the infrastructure of roads, utilities, and so on and so forth, and build it and they will come. The problem with this is that the infrastructure was not built. 2 casinos opened in the beginning opportunistically, which was really a smart move. Not if you have 100 million shares, not if you're the Venetian, but if you're a small private banking company or a small gaming company getting off the ground, more like a Native American casino would be in the United States, it makes sense to go into Azov City and open something that's very stark, very small, very quick. And Casino Oracle, which was put together by the Royal Time Group, opened initially at 1,500 square meters. It expanded to 4,000 square meters, and currently has approximately, by some recollection, and I apologize if I'm off, 560 machines, 26 table games, 1 restaurant, and 10 hotel rooms. 10 hotel rooms does not generate a lot of tourism. What it does generate is serving the local regional business that surrounds the area. There have been some efforts to expand. There's a 3rd expansion underway that's going to take the casino to 11,700 square meters, according to an article that might open in 2014. Casino Shambhala, and I'm not sure if that's where the right emphasis is, was the 2nd casino opened several months after Casino Oracle. 140 table games, 12 table and a poker restaurant, and a 50-room hotel. Again, not enough to generate tourism, but enough to take advantage of regional business. Casino Nirvana was announced in a